to our second internal webinar and our first session focused on communication, hosted by Work Package 2 on dissemination and communication. We have an exciting agenda ahead, covering the structure of communication and dissemination efforts in Jodda PreventNCD, strategic communication and messaging, communication and dissemination channels. My name is Anita Munch from the Norwegian Directorate of Health. I co-lead Work Package 2, and I'm pleased to introduce Solveig Karlstadter, our VP2 leader and the driving force behind our team.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Anita, for this nice introduction. I'd like to start by introducing dissemination in our joint action. With us, we have Live, our strategic communication expert. Listen to her afterwards, she truly knows what she's saying. Freyr, who not only manages our website and social media with care, but can truly tackle any challenge that comes our way. Charlotte, who plans our social media channels and newsletters and keeps us organized and on track. Rab, our content manager, always ready to step in and support with his valuable experience in European collaboration. Hugrun, our public health expert and a true force of nature in positivity and practice. Thea, our art design expert, ensuring our materials are visually engaging and on brand. And I might be a bit biased here, but with their combined expertise, I think of us as the European team in communication. And now if we go to our strategic communication objectives, guiding our dissemination and communication efforts. Our first objective is to align all our communication efforts with the broader goals of our joint action. Second one is recognizing and addressing communication challenges specific to target audiences to enhance the effectiveness of dissemination efforts. Third one, creating visibility for the project, encouraging interaction, providing opportunities for dialogue and participation. Fourth one, stakeholder engagement is a key priority. We use various channels such as conferences, workshops, high-level meetings, and online forums to facilitate meaningful interactions and make our communication accessible and relevant. The fifth one, to support our effort, we create materials tailored to its audience, such as press releases, policy brief, website content, newsletter, and social media campaigns. These materials reinforce our message and build trust with our audiences. The sixth one, collaborating with relevant EU actions, NGOs, and other international and national initiatives to enhance the visibility of activities and results, and supporting the consortium with communication processes. Each of these strategic objectives plays a crucial role in driving our communication work forward. Through consistent effort and collaboration, we aim to maximize our impact and make significant strides in NCD prevention across Europe. And in the early stages of this joint action, we have established a strong foundation for our communication work. This includes developing our website, the visual identity for the project, writing our communication and dissemination strategy, and refining our plans for future activities. And if we go to the next slide, please. We have also established collaboration and work closely with communication contacts in each work package and from the competent authorities. These contact points are crucial in ensuring that our communication efforts are cohesive across the entire project. Our publication board also plays a critical role, particularly in scientific publication. The board has ambitious goals to enhance our visibility within the scientific community. These partnerships are important for consistent, impactful messaging and help us to reach a broader, diverse audience. And with the combined strength of these teams, we have a dedicated dynamic group focused on delivering clear, accessible information, building partnerships, and expanding our outreach. And as we continue to build on this foundation, I'd like to thank you for your attention. I will now hand over to Leve, who will delve into the finer points of strategic communication and messaging. Leve, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Solveig. Yes, so I will try to talk you through some strategic thoughts on this project. As Solveig said, a main goal for the communication work is to support the main goals of the Joint Action PreventNCD. So what are these? They're very, very, very big. We are in collaboration to reduce the burden of cancer and other NCDs and their common risk factors, both at a personal and societal level, and define methods to assess their effectiveness across Europe. This is very big, and as you probably know, because you've been introduced to this a lot of times, there are 4 objectives identified: improve joint capacities, improve data and monitoring system, contribute to reduce social inequalities, and to engage with and support key actors. And seeing as strategic communication has one role, and that's to support the overall goals, how does this translate to communication goals? We need to divide it into what can be solved through communication and what can't. So when we look at what communication can actually contribute to, we have set 3 overall communication goals. What is communication meant to solve? And this is 1, to build a collective understanding of societal and individual burden of NCDs. This is something communication can do. We can improve policymakers' knowledge and interest in the burden of NCDs, and we can generate public and media interest and create SOMI engagement on the topic of NCDs. So lift the topic of NCDs. We can also put prevention and health promotion as the top-of-mind solution to it. So first, we need to introduce it as a big problem, and then we can introduce the solution. And this is done with a communication perspective by generating media interest and creating SOMI engagement on the topic, to make information accessible, to ensure equal access to information, and in that we produce understandable information. And this is with regards to the health literacy perspective, which we're really preoccupied with. The third main strategic goal for the communication work is to build a positive perception of the joint action and of EU's efforts to prevent NCDs. And the underlying goals here are that stakeholders are aware of the joint European effort. We want to create synergies with other EU initiatives, and we need to generate media interest and create SOMI engagement. Again, this is, goes through all of the points. The external advisory expert advisory board put this really interesting comment on our work when we asked them to create a report. They said, match the unprecedented and bold investment with equally bold activities. This is something that resonates very well with the way we think about strategic communication, because we need to lift this topic to a higher level and show that we have higher level solutions through our communication. There are some obvious risks or challenges to the project from a communications perspective. These will be apparent in many big projects like this, and to our particular project, they are that we have the risk of becoming too project-oriented. We're in a landscape where there's sort of a lack of a political interest for our topic and theme. Within our landscape is also the big problem of the information overload and the mistrust in the public. There's a growing movement distrusting public information. There are many voices with different agendas trying to take control over our teams, so this landscape is very difficult to maneuver in. The next challenge, industry influence and lobbying, is sort of overlapping with the last one, but it's not the same. It's the way some industry actors are actively trying to take down our work. The fifth one is the complexity of the project's catchment area. It's a huge project involving 26 member states, a very big budget, stakeholders, numerous, over 100 pilots. The project is so big, so how can we sort of wrap our arms around it? We've created some strategies to overcome these risks. We've divided them into 4 main areas. 1, to use clear and inclusive communication to avoid information overload. How can we contribute not to the confusion, but to the clarity on our topic out there? Second one is to time communications with policy events, for example, to keep the political interest high. Timing is actually key when it comes to communication. When is the receiver ready to receive? So timing is something we need to keep in mind all the time. Engaging stakeholders through cross-work package collaboration to avoid silos. This is very, very important, that we, within our project, that we talk to each other to avoid the silo thinking from getting out there. And also it's very important that we maintain a consistent messaging about NCD prevention and equity. Again, do not tribute to confusion, but to clarity. There is one big challenge that sort of sums up on a more general level the main challenge of most communication. And this is by author George Bernard Shaw. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. And I will illustrate this on the next slide with a real-life example. This is actually my life and family, to be more precise. So this is a husband lifting a topic. So I was thinking you boys could make dinner today. And if this were a real-life seminar, I'd have you buzz in groups. Do you think we actually had dinner that day or not? No, I wouldn't have you buzz. The thing is that topics can be lifted, but communication has not taken place until it's actually taken in by the receiver. There are many models for strategic communication guiding the user in how to reach goals. And we have the one that we stick to in the project, the Laswell model. And it ensures that we ask the right question for every communication effort we have on a high or a low level. Who is the communicator? Who is it who talks? And what is the communicator saying, being the message of the communication effort? In which channel, obviously, where do you choose to leave this message? And Freyr will go through our main channels for the project afterwards. To whom? This is one of my key, or one of my favorite parts of all communication. Who is the receiver? Because you can send messages out into open space at all times, but you need to keep in mind who is going to receive the message. So it needs to be tailored for the receiver. And if you don't have a clear thought on who the receiver is, the message will not be clear. And with what effect, obviously, because effect, I put a ring around it, because effect is what we're looking for. There's no need using lots of resources on communicating if you don't have a perception of what the effect of the communication is supposed to be. We can say that we're having a webinar, but who's going to care about the webinar if we don't say what they're going to gain from it and why they should see it? So we need to be really focused on the effect of the communication when we start the communicating. In this lies the creating of effective messaging, which starts with understanding each audience, what I was talking about earlier. You need to understand the mindset of your audience. My teenager sleeping in the car is an audience that's extremely hard to wake. So you need to understand that. If my husband had said, woken them up and said, I'll buy really nice ham and see if you can make the best pizza in the world, I might have had dinner that day. Tailoring the core message to address unique benefit. What's in it for me? Why should I contribute to the joint action? Why should I go see the webinar? Why should I do anything? What's in it for me? What will I gain? In the public health and prevention work, we often tend to think that all sectors should work the way we do, but often we forget to tell them to contemplate on what's the benefit for them, so that we don't ask people to do things for us. Craft the right tone and style. I will touch upon this with the target groups afterwards, and use the appropriate channels and formats. Freyr will again touch upon this. Leverage emotional appeals and scientific, social, or other proof, such as testimonials. This is maybe a bit tough. It has to do with the fact that all people who are going to receive our messages are also people. So that's emotional appeals and social or other proofs, such as testimonials, will resonate with them. Even if we have a very scientific approach, we need to find the things that make them tick in order for them to watch our things instead of all others that's in space out there. And whenever we have the chance, we need to test and optimize messages. This could be, for example, A/B testing of messaging in social media. This can be public surveys. This can be focus groups within other kinds of target groups, such as stakeholders or policymakers. But whenever we have the chance, test and optimize. See if it works. Do the target group understand this? Do they like it? Does it resonate? Is it the way they can understand it? Because we can keep on putting messages out there. If the target groups don't understand them or realize that it's about them, it doesn't matter. So ask. I'm going to pull a very short example on a very overall level. To show you what tailoring messages can mean. We have the bigger picture in the Joint Action PreventNCD, which you are all a part of, a very crucial part of. We know that non-communicable diseases are responsible for 80% of the disease burden in the EU countries. And we also know that improved health promotion and disease prevention can reduce the prevalence by as much as 70%. We also know that we have the UN Sustainable Development Goals with reducing 1/3 of premature mortality from the NCD within 2030. This is like the bigger picture that we all know. And this is what we want to communicate. When I talked about the communication goals, we want to lift this and we want to place prevention as the key solution. But we need to say this in different ways to the different target groups. So we've identified in the communication strategy 3 key target groups. This is a bit gliding, obviously. They can belong to each group, and there can be groups not included. But on a big level, there are 3 main groups, and policymakers and government officials. And the main message to them needs to be: you have the power to prevent people from suffering and healthcare systems from breaking down. This needs to be the key message to the policy makers. You can change this. And then there's another side to it with the stakeholders, such as the NGOs, the healthcare professionals, and academia. Your push on authorities and awareness raising actually makes a difference. So you also have the power, just in a slightly different way. And then there's the general public, which is the last of the key target groups, who need to hear this in a different way again. And there are 2 suggestions here: that your everyday habits count and you can actually influence your life and your health in a positive way, or in a negative way though, but we like to talk about the positive instead. There's also another part to it, that we have systems that work against people's health. And you should demand change from your authorities. As we say in Norway, when 70% of the people have overweight or obesity, you cannot place the responsibility on the individual. The individual needs to be aware that you can demand a change in the way we make the societies. So this is like a very overall example of how you can say the same thing to different target groups. The Laswell's model of communication can be used in a very big way, as I was just showing you, and it can be used for every small, tiny communication effort we have. And this is also what we want for you to do in collaboration with us. So this is an example from last week's webinar from Work Package 5 on taxation and regulation. It was a brilliant webinar, by the way. Our communication contact points, together with the VP leader, went through the stages on this in order to create the communication for their webinar. So they said who was going to talk, and that was obviously Work Package 5, and three different speakers with very relevant topics. Says what were they going to say? Yes, they were going to raise awareness about the strategies employed by commercial entities to influence public policy-making processes and propose potential strategies to prevent commercial interests from undermining the implementation of policies. So that's what they were going to say, and in which channel, and in this case, it was a webinar, and it was also social media efforts according to plan which was made in advance. To whom? We went the wrong way. Target groups were identified on beforehand. Who exactly is it we want to reach with this messaging through this media? I'm not going to read it here. And with what effect? So this model forces you to think about the effect. The effect of this was to be that target groups have learned about threats to public health imposed by commercial interests. They would understand their strategies, and they would desire, after this webinar, to take actions against it. This was going to be the desired outcome, the effect of the webinar. There's a template for this. You can find it. There's a link in the presentation that we will share. Yes, so this was my very quick run-through of the way we think strategy and communications. And Freyr will now run you through technicalities and guide you in our team's universe. Thank you very much for listening, Freyr.
Apologies. I'm very happy to be here and speaking about the communications channel to the entire consortium, because we have been working hard in the beginning of the year to set everything up, and it's very important that we communicate with you to make sure that you know what you're capable of using, and there is a lot. And here you can see the communications channels that we have highlighted. Including scientific publications, press releases and media relations, social media and public campaigns, website content, articles, blog posts, etc. The newsletters, we have both internal and external newsletters, events, webinars, conferences, meetings, everything you have ongoing as activity in this joint action, and then email communication. And what I wanted to highlight is that there is not just one that you have to pick, because there are a lot of subjects that merit a full funnel, as you could say, a combination of activities that can highlight events or activities that are extremely important in this joint action. So this might combine social media with, an event takes place, and you want to combine it with social media. You have a webinar to discuss the outcome. You can reach external audiences through the newsletter, the external newsletter. You can reach internal audiences through the internal newsletter, etc. So there is always this combination of channels that is available, and later I will discuss exactly what we can provide and how we can help you. But this is also one of the key points that both Solveig and Anita have mentioned, is that you have there are work package communications contacts. Those are people that we work with every week or so to really align and coordinate everything that happens and the flow from the work packages to the central hub of communication, which is us. So it really helps with aligning and prioritizing different publications, for example, speaking about the website now, or social media engagements where we can help a lot. We have over 1,000 followers on LinkedIn as an example. So it's not just about how you can help us, but how we can help you and how we can together work to make this a success. And before I go into my next sections, I want to do a little temperature check on Slido. So I would like to ask you please to scan the code here and answer the questions, and I'm going to give it 2 to 3 minutes to make sure that people are able to respond. Very, very basic questions, very quick temperature check that we will have for the discussions moving forward. And answering this should only take a few seconds. So I'm just gonna keep it very brief. This will set a little bit the tone for the remainder of my discussion. I would appreciate if you have your phone on hand to do this. All right, I'm gonna wait just a few more seconds, hoping that everyone has been able to do this.
We have time to give it a few more minutes, Freyr, if you'd like to.
Yeah.
I see people are responding.
Exactly. We can see when it slows down a little bit, and then we can stop. First question: have you visited the PreventNCD.eu website? Majority, yes. The rest, I would highly encourage you to check it out. All right, and I'm going to continue with this because I think this already gives us a pretty good picture. 8218, 8317, something like that. On the next question, do you follow the official social media accounts of the project? LinkedIn, Facebook, or X.com, formerly Twitter? 62% say yes, 63% say yes, 37% say no. That's definitely something that we can work on. And on the last question, have you engaged with content from the project on social media, likes, comments, shares, or reposts? That's basically 50-50. So I think we are going to just move on with this. This was very interesting and actually sets a good basis for the next discussion, because one of the key things here, and I want to be very clear about this, this is a very big project. And as Anita mentioned, we need to be bold. We need to talk about it. We need to understand that this is a big project and an important initiative. So we in the communications team, what do we do? What do we control? We control the official social media accounts and in general the communications central to the project. And who do we communicate to? We communicate to all the partners that are involved, and you can look at this as we have over 100 partners in the project, over 100 individual partners in 25 countries. What does that mean? They also have their own networks. So they speak to their partners, they then speak to their partners, and they speak to their partners. So basically saying if it's just us communicating, the work package 2 team of the Joint Action Prevent NCD, it limits the scope of the whole project enormously. However, if we all join together and we post from all the different organizations that we have in this project, in all these different countries, and you have the ability, because you are all over Europe, you can localize content, you can make it in your own language, you can help repost, you can help us reach your audiences. You can and you can be proud of it, because this is a big project and it's very, very important, very top of the agenda in Europe in general. So you can take pride in being part of it as well. So with that said, the outcome of the Slido before, it actually is encouraging, because what it shows is that there is a very, 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 very big need for the next slide that I'm going to discuss. And I hope this visual demonstration is powerful enough to show what we can do together, because the project is just the members of this project and the institutions, the individuals. Like together we can do so much, because we are not We are not allocating huge budgets on advertising or anything. We need to think how we can do this in a clever way. And you in the consortium, you are absolute key to this. So what are the quick wins? Each and every one of you in your institution, you as individuals, how can you contribute to this? And this is very, very important. First of all, join the conversation. Follow the social media accounts of the project. And not just, you know, if you think, for example, LinkedIn is not maybe in all countries as important as in other countries, but it is an extremely important venue for what we are doing, because it is something that allows you to reach your professional or academic circles within these little circles of Europe. And this is your professional voice online. And I just don't want people to underestimate the power it can give you. And reposting and sharing content from the official channels can really help. You might think it's small margins, but when you multiply it by the 800 people that are involved in this project, plus the related institutions, etc., it is very, very hard to grow this number exponentially, as I demonstrated in the previous one. And this is very easy. The JA PreventNCD posts something about the topic that you're interested in or something that is important. All you have to do when you follow on LinkedIn, you repost, you add your own comments, and you share it. Same, this can be across any of the media that we mentioned. So LinkedIn, x.com, Facebook. Very quick win, very easy, and it will make a difference. That's the thing. Now we have almost 1,100 followers on LinkedIn. If everyone would do this, I can assure you that we will multiply that number quite a lot, very, very quickly. So it's something that we would really appreciate if you can help us with, because that is helping the project. Another one, contribute blogs or relevant literature. So we just want you to know, like, there are so many different tasks in this venture, and everyone is working on their own thing. But what we can help you with, you have access to the official website of the Joint Action PreventNCD, and we would be more than happy to publish you if you would be willing to give us content. So this is something that we are working very closely with the work package communications contacts on, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And as you have probably seen in the autumn, we have really stepped up, because there is so much coming from the project, and that's only going to increase. So there's going to be a lot of opportunity to take this forward and really help you also get your professional tone online. And as I said before, don't underestimate the power it can give you in your circles, both domestically and Europe-wise. Use hashtags when you are doing something. If you have an event and you're presenting, for example, next week we have the European Public Health Conference in Lisbon. If you are giving a speech or you're taking part in a workshop or something, take pictures at the post, write your thoughts, tag the project, and there's a very good chance that the project will repost you. If you want more visibility on what you're doing, then don't hesitate. Tag the project and we repost it. And this is not just for the European Public Health Conference, but whatever you're doing in the name of the project, where you are presenting, where you're engaging with an audience, make sure that it's known about. And this is a very, very quick and easy way to do that. And you can always think, if it's an event or if it's a meeting, whatever it is, there is always a pre-event, pre-meeting strategy that you can apply. What is your objective? It's going back to what Liva said. Who are you trying to convince of what? Like, what is the desired effect, and who are you talking to? Who are your target audiences? And this can always help you. Like, okay, we have an event. Let's talk about it. Then the event happens. What do you do during the event? Take pictures, whatever you want to do. And then the post-event. What are the conclusions of the event? What did you do? We can help with every single stage of this journey. So just keep it in mind. And another very quick easy win is add something about the project, and we can help you with context as you want. But add something about your project on the website of your institution, of where you work. Make sure that it's known that you are part of this project, because we need to talk about this. This is a big and important project everywhere. For every participating country, this is a big project, and we need to ensure, and we do this on our own domestic level through the competent authorities as well, And this is something that we are working very strongly on a different task that is a stakeholder analysis as well. So we are mapping the whole foundation of a country and trying to get the voice of everyone involved in every single country that we are part of. But just to mention, these small steps are extremely important. Like you saw it in the other slide. And it is really like that in real life. This is the network theory. This is the social media theory. This is why it's called social media. Because you can engage with people, you can have discussions, you can have conversations. So make sure that you are active, that you are commenting on posts, that you are reposting, sharing, etc. That will create engagement. So you can consider it a favor, but don't just think what you could do for us, but also what we can do for you, how we can help you get your message across from a little bit of a higher perspective. And on that topic, one of the things that we have prepared, and you will find now in the Teams area for the project, is that there is an area for communication and dissemination. So don't bother entering the VP2 section and looking for it, but this is where you will always find the most recent and up-to-date materials for the project. And this includes a brand guide. And the brand guide is very important for various reasons. First of all, it explains the use of the logo and the graphics and how to use it. And we have received a lot of questions in the beginning of this project about how to apply, for example, the EU emblem and the disclaimer. And this is where it's all very well explained. The same for co-branding, because what happens with co-branding, you're talking about including the Joint Action PreventNCD, the JA PreventNCD logo, the logo of the institution or the project that you're working with, and the co-funded by the EU. This also explains how you have to do that, because there are, in this case, there are legal implications from the grant agreement that need to be fulfilled. So you can definitely do co-branding, but you need to make sure that you include both the co-funded and the JA PreventNCD logo on it. You will also find a lot of very practical items. For example, if you're hosting events, you can add, you can print your own roll-up banner. You can also localize it. You can translate it and make it in your own language. There is a photo wall similar to what the Norway team, Anita and Liva, have behind them right now. You have the prints ready. You can adjust it in any way you want, following the brand guidelines, of course. And that way you can prepare for your events, even at your institution, to have it somewhere in a corner. It's always nice. It brings visibility. And then there's the scientific dissemination work plan that you can find on the drive as well. The communication and dissemination strategy, which I would highly suggest you read. It's not super long, but it does give you a very, very clear idea of what we are doing and how we do plan to address all these different target segments. And then a lot of practical items. You have templates for presentations. You have templates for social media posts. You have the PreventNCD official project tree that was created for the kickoff and basically shows the structure of the whole project in one image. You have visual backgrounds. You have the icons for the VPs. You have a lot of different materials that you can use and access through there. And this is something that will actually just continue building and building. So I would highly suggest that you read through this and really let us know if something is missing, because we have had a lot of questions. Where can I find this? Where can I find that? So this is the opportunity. If you actually do need something, like whatever it is, let us know, because we also have info sheets there, something basic about the project, and a lot of other materials that you can use, and something that has been demanded a lot. So as I said, it's a wonderful opportunity for us to speak to you here, because these practical things are very important, and I know that people have been thinking where we can get this and that. So I just want to highlight that it's there. And if there is anything, you can always reach out to us anyway. And with that, I'm going to show you the PreventNCD tree. And you might look at it and say, this looks nice and clean. And actually, I think it does. But it took a lot of different versions because this is such a huge project that initially we wanted to go down to like the sub task level, but it was impossible. So this is something to give us a very good idea of the whole structure of the project. And to have it printed is actually quite nice. So you can find the prints for various use cases, also explained in the brand guide. And you are more than welcome to use this in your own presentations or whatever it is that you need. And with that, I'm going to ship it back to Anita in Norway, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Freyr. As we in fact have some extra minutes, I will attempt to summarize a few take-home messages jotted down right now. First of all, important to remember, you are all contributors to the most important joint effort on prevention in the EU that has taken place. Secondly, you need to think about how communicating your contribution, how it can help. You have a communication contact point in your VP or with your competent authority. They are key. There are also contact points to the communication contact points in VP2. Use the Laswell models, and there are, as Live said, templates for that work. Teams is our main channel where you'll find everything you need. And also, last but not least, VP2 is always here to assist you. And I also want to put attention to our upcoming webinars. As you know, we have monthly internal webinars and external webinars. The next external webinar will be hosted by Work Package 9 on well-being economy. The next internal webinar will be hosted on December 6th on the evaluation strategy. And then in December, there will also be a webinar on sustainability hosted by Work Package 4. That's it. And then I want to say thank you for this session. Please do not hesitate to contact us. This webinar will be taped and sent out and made available afterwards. So yes, thank you.